Correct?
So audio and the video. My video setup is not there, but what I'm doing is I'm just putting on YouTube Live so that it can be utilized. Yeah. So start. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Healthy Mind, Healthy Life, the podcast where we explore the practical insights to enhance your uh, physical, mental, emotional well-being. So today we have the privilege of speaking with Carl Pradelli. So welcome to the show, Carl.
Thank you very much. Great to be with you, Avik. Appreciate the warm welcome.
Lovely, lovely. And so, Carl, like before we start, I'll quickly love to introduce you to all of our listeners. Dear listeners, Carl is the co-founder and leader of Nature City, a company that has been a trusted guide for over 500,000 customers looking for quality nutritional supplements over the past 23 years. So Carl's personal journey with the health supplements began such like many of us, like feeling overwhelmed by the sheer number of choices and unsure who to trust. So it was this very challenge that inspired him and his co-founder to create the Nature City, a brand built on transparency, quality, and a dedication to serving its customers as an extended family. Yeah. So what started over dinner with a blank sheet of paper has grown into a company that still operates with the same ironclad commitments that made on day one. So he has an impressive background with a Bachelor's of Science from NYU and MBA from the Wharton School of Business. Yeah. So over the years, he's worked closely with the scientists, suppliers, and the manufacturers to ensure the Nature City offers supplements backed by the integrity, cutting edge science, and the high quality ingredients. So, dear listeners, in this episode, we will delve deep into Carl's expertise, exploring the critical role that nutrition plays in joint health, cognitive well being, and the overall vitality. So, we will also discuss how to navigate the supplement world with the confidence and find the products that genuinely support your health goals. So, stay tuned for an enlightening conversations with one and only Carl Pradelli. Welcome to the show, Carl.
Thank you so much, Avik. And you really did your homework there on the background of Nature City and me personally. Thank you for that.
Lovely, lovely. So, so Carl, like I already mentioned about when, how it was started, but I would love to listen from you. Uh, from your personal and the business journey, like you have been in the supplement industry for 20 years, over the 20 years. So what initially sparked your passion for the nutrition and the health?
That's a great question. Really, my wife and I, we were really frustrated
Mm-hmm.
supplement consumers. So I'll take you back now to the 1990s. We started Nature City in 2002. But
Mm-hmm.
back in the 90s, Vic, nutritional supplements were just really starting to come of age. So you had chains like GNC and Vitamin Shop across the United States that were really starting to blossom. In 1994, the Congress approved what's called the Dietary Supplement and Health and Education Act, the SHA, which really provided greater access to these products to those in the United States. And from a personal point of view, I was really interested in this because even back then, I witnessed people participating in the healthcare system, whether it be, parents, grandparents, some of the older folks in the family, and how frustrated they were. And at the same time, there was even then a lack of focus on wellness and
True.
not enough, focus on nutrition in my mind. And another thing that was going on in the culture here in the United States
Mhm.
was people were starting to get busier. You had, two members of the household,
Yeah.
mother and father in a lot of cases, both working. And so people were starting to eat more meals outside the home, which mean
Mhm.
preparing, which mean less, less food that they're preparing with fresh ingredients and wholesome ingredients and more reliance on processed foods. So people were not getting as much of, really the nutrients that people really need, whether it be vitamins, minerals, and beyond, that people, that our bodies really need to function. So while this was all happening, as I said, we were frustrated consumers. We'd go to a store, even if you knew what you wanted. Say if you say, what, I really want to take fish oil. I know omega-3s are really important. You go into the store, and I remember one particular store, a GNC store where I used to live in New York City, and it's just a wall of pills, bottles and pills, right? And you're not really sure. You see eight different choices. You're not really sure what's good, what's bad. One's $10, the other's $40. Which one should I purchase? And I found that there was very little help, you know, in the stores, in the stores from the store personnel. They only had so much knowledge about these products. And when I found out in certain stores, that really bothered me later, that sometimes employees are actually incented to push certain brands. So I don't know if that still happens, but back then it did. So I just felt, well, who are they looking out for, me or themselves? So there was a lot of so really that blank piece of paper that you referred to, that Beth and I really used to really come up with our four kind of founding principles for the company, really grew out of our frustrations of consumer of supplements and how we would want to do it differently if we had our own supplement business. And really, that was the birth of Nature City and how we got to where we are.
That's very true. Yeah, I really love that. I was about to ask you the story behind it, but thanks for sharing this already. That's really, really great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And here, I mean, as you mentioned, and I also mentioned during the start of the show, um, the dinner conversation. So if you can also share about that story, like uh, how it first laid out the vision for Nature City.
Yeah, so I mean, this was a very big decision in our lives. Both Beth and I were really working
Hmm.
in completely different industries, and pretty successful in our own rights at that point. So becoming entrepreneurs a little bit scary, right?
True.
But we both had a passion for for this category of supplements, and we felt now is the time of our lives, if we're going to try this, to really do it. So the things that we really came up with, really the first focus was product. Of course, product, right? Now, no supplement company out there says, we make the cheapest, we use the cheapest ingredients we can find. We don't care about quality. Everyone says, well, we use the best quality ingredients, we use the best manufacturers. So what does the best product mean for Nature City? So basically, we really almost exclusively rely on scientifically studied ingredients, and we use those same ingredients in our formulas in the amounts that were used in the studies, which were shown to have an effect. So what I mean, for example, is we don't. There's a lot of kind of where people will borrow science. Okay, so maybe they see something on. I'm just going to make something up. Maybe something on green tea may help prostate health,
Mhm.
and I'm just making this up totally. So instead of using the actual ingredient that was used in that research, the actual extract, they'll just go somewhere else and get something that sounds like it or seems to have the same characteristics. But we don't know it's going to perform the same in the body. So
Mhm.
what we commit to in Nature City is we actually use the same ingredients in the published research in the amounts that were shown to have a beneficial effect. And what's nice about these ingredients, they're all called branded ingredients, trademarked ingredients in our industry, is they also typically have very good safety data attached to them as well. We don't want to, we're kind of almost, we want to try and help people, but we also don't want to do any harm. And that's why the safety data is important to us as showing that it works. So that was really where it kind of started with the ingredients. But then, Vic, it's really about being transparent about those ingredients. Okay. So, what I mean by transparency is the exact source and the exact brand producer of the ingredients in our formulas. Their name is on our labels along with our name. So that provides a little extra comfort because, frankly, they're going to provide it's important that you as the consumer have a good outcome from taking the product, because If not, it reflects poorly on them too. So it's just nice to have that extra bit of, extra bit
Mm,
of credibility, if you will, that, here's, it's not just Nature City's name on the bottle, it's actually the
mm,
ingredient supplier's name on it too. And here's why we think their ingredients are the best. So it's really important. That's really important to us. And it's also important not to put to a lot of companies do this, and it kind of drives me crazy. They lump ingredients together in what they call a proprietary blend. Okay.
mm,
And to me, there's nothing proprietary about it. You're just trying to hide something. Okay. We don't do that. You know exactly how much of each ingredient you're getting in our product. And there's no proprietary blends that list 10 ingredients and say, okay, there's 1,000 milligrams of this stuff, but you have no idea how much of each ingredient you're getting. Okay. So that's really, and those blends to me are bad for a lot of reasons. One, I don't know what I'm getting, but even your healthcare practitioner doesn't really know what you're getting either. And that could really become a little bit of a safety concern, especially as some folks get older and maybe taking some medications, you're worried about interactions or other consequences or things that may be going on in their personal health that, that doctors need to be aware of. So we don't do that. Every ingredient on our labels is listed out separately. You know the exact amount, you know who it's from, and that's kind of what we mean by ingredient transparency.
wow. Lovely. So, I mean, uh, with so many supplements on the market, how
Mhm.
can consumers confidently determine like which ones are effective and the trustworthy?
It's such a tough thing, and that's
Mm,
why another component of what we want, Beth and I want to do at Nature City is
yeah.
education as much as we
Mm,
can about the ingredients. That's why I
mm,
have my own podcast, a Nature City podcast, where each week I'm talking about a different supplement ingredient
mm,
and trying to, educate and provide the background and what it's been
mm,
shown to do, and frankly, what's been shown not to do. Okay, that's important too. So at least you have a good sense of, what you're taking and what you can expect from it, or what at least a group of people in a published research study have been able to experience. And that's, and so that's really important. But also, Vic, what we do too, because look, two words we don't like to use at Nature City or frankly in life, we be very
yeah.
careful about using the words always and never, right? It's kind of a good rule for life. Always and never can get you in
Mm,
trouble. So we know not everything's going to work for everybody. That's why
mm,
we also have a policy where we have a 365-day money back guarantee on purchases just
mm,
to show that we're standing behind our products. Because look, I know a lot of people maybe have a 30-day guarantee. I saw one yesterday, a 21-day guarantee, which is kind of weird. But we're talking about supplements here, which probably in most cases aren't going to produce an immediate effect in the body, right? It's about nutrition that takes time. So we want to give you plenty of time to make
mm,
test it out and give yourself a chance to see if it actually helps you, right? That's one of the things that sometimes people give up too quickly. Maybe they're staring at that calendar and saying, geez, I only have a couple days left to make a decision here if I want to return this product or not. We want to take that pressure off of you and just make sure that you have plenty of time to give it a fair chance and hopefully have a good outcome, the outcome that is, it helps you.
understood. Understood. And like, what is the most overcooked aspect of the nutrition when it comes to the overall health, including the joint and the brain health as well? What do you say?
What is the most I'm sorry,
Overlooked, yeah.
okay.
Mm,
So, everyone's always searching for one magic bullet or one ingredient that's going to help,
yeah.
um, help them resolve whatever they're
Mm,
concerned about or experiencing. So let's use joint health as an example. Well, there's a lot of there's a lot of things you need to do to support your joints. Okay. There's not just one thing. You need to support a healthy inflammation response in the body, right? Sometimes, inflammation gets a bad rap, but
mm,
without inflammation, we die. We can't survive, right? The key is to have a healthy inflammation response when the
mm,
body perceives a threat and not have that response go into overdrive and not really subside when things are okay, and that tends to happen as we age. So supporting a healthy inflammation response is very important. But it's
Mm,
also important to make sure we're maintaining healthy joint cartilage, and we're also protecting against oxidative stress that occurs in joints as we age. We're helping joints recover from physical activity as we age. So there's a lot of, and you're probably not going to get all that support from just one nutrient.
mm,
That doesn't make sense, right? So I think that's the biggest challenge, something or biggest mistake sometimes people make is they just look for one thing that maybe they could take and maybe they could spend just a tiny bit of money on it and expect that it's really going to provide what they need. And in
mm.
most cases, that's probably not going to happen.
True. Understood.
Yeah.
So,
So what we do to
yeah,
give you an example though of and then the other thing too, Vic, is joint health means different things to different people depending on where you are in your life.
exactly.
Right? So if you're a
Mm,
little younger, let's say you're in your 30s or
mm,
40s
yeah.
even, your main concern is
Mm,
you're not it's not so much about helping discomfort.
mm,
You may be just recovering from your workouts or your physical activity, or maybe you
yeah.
have a job that's very strenuous, right? And you're just trying to support
Mm,
joint health as best you can, so you can recover and be ready to go the next day. As you
mm.
get kind of into, as you get into your 50s, you know,
Yeah.
or late 50s like me, and your 60s
Mm,
and above, well, then you have other challenges, right?
mm,
And there's normal wear and tear of joints, kind of, you start to feel it a little bit more, and you certainly want to be able to recover because you still
mm,
want to be exercising and engage physical activity, but just to
mm,
do day-to-day things becomes a little bit more of a challenge, and that's where you maybe need something a little different from a joint supplement. But the good
mm,
news is a lot of the same nutrients can help both folks in the earlier stage of life as well as the more advanced or middle age and older parts of your life. So it doesn't have to necessarily be completely different things.
exactly. I totally agree. Definitely. And wow, that's really, really awesome, I have to say. And also like for someone who is just starting their journey with the supplements, where should they begin? And how they avoid becoming overwhelmed.
Had I become, I'm sorry,
Becoming overwhelmed.
overwhelmed? Yeah, no, that is definitely a challenge. The first thing I would recommend is trying to find a brand or a few brands that you feel you can
Mm,
trust. Okay.
true.
This, Vic, is probably the single biggest challenge for consumers
Mm,
of supplements. Okay. There are many, many good companies, and I like to think Nature City is one of them, who come up with really good products and are
mm,
in the business for the right reasons and are really committed to helping people. Unfortunately, there is uh,
mm,
at least as many companies
yeah.
that
Yeah.
are trying to take advantage of people and just, frankly, make some money as
Mm,
best they can and maybe capitalize on a fad. Some ingredient becomes very popular. They put some type of product together that sounds good, but what we find out when we test these products, and by the way, this is especially a challenge for people who buy off of the big online platforms.
mm,
You can guess which ones I'm talking about. Is a lot of these supplements are frankly just um, called fake or fraudulent. They
mm,
don't have the ingredients or the amount of the ingredients that are listed on the labels. Sometimes they don't have it. They have it if they say 100 milligrams, maybe it's like 5 milligrams or something like that. The source of
yeah.
these ingredients generally isn't the best,
Mm,
and they're pretty good at marketing, so they get a lot of sales, but a lot of those end up not being repeat sales because they don't help they're not really helping people by giving them what they need. So really my first word of advice is really you have to do a little homework and research and really try to find and identify companies that you feel confident in and are frankly doing it for the right reason. One of the reasons we tell that story on our website and why, I do my podcast and, and happy to be invited on shows like yours, Avik, is because I want people to understand why we're doing this. Okay. We're not just doing this. It's, the greatest thing about my life is I can make a living by helping people. And that's just
Mm,
so exciting to me, but there's a lot of folks who are just in it for other reasons. They don't necessarily care about helping people. So really, you have to get to know the owners and who runs the brands and understand why they're doing what they're doing. You have to understand that, like I said about the ingredients we choose in our supplements, the branded
mm,
ingredients. You have to understand the manufacturing relationships, who companies uses their manufacturers. And, experience also really matters in this. We made a lot of mistakes in our first, especially in our first 10 years in this business, because you don't know. It's hard for us sometimes to figure out, well, who's good and who's not good, right? So experience really matters also. So you have to do a little bit of homework to really get to know brands and what they're
mm,
about and you know, who the proprietors, who the owners are and why they're doing this. And that'll really help guide you. Because those companies are much more likely to help you get what you're looking for and find something that's suitable for you than someone who's just like, look, I'm just trying to move as much product as I can as quickly as I can,
mm.
because I think I can make some money.
Very well said. Yeah, definitely. Great. So, thank you so much for joining us today on Healthy Mind and Healthy Life, and for dear listeners, for turning into the insightful conversation with one and only Carl. I hope that you found today's discussion on nutrition, joint health, and cognitive well-being as inspiring and the informative as I did. So, as I already mentioned, like Carl's journey and the expertise uh, reminds us that taking control of our health starts with the knowledge and making informed decisions. So, if you'd like to learn more about Nature City and explore their thoughtfully crafted supplements, be sure to check out their website. So, Carl, like, if you can mention like where they can find the details and how they can reach out to you, so that will be easier.
Yes, thank you for that. So naturecity.com is
Mhm.
where you'll find about the products and get the most information about our products. We also sell many items on Amazon, and we're also available to you. You can call us anytime, any day, and talk to us if you really have some questions you'd like to chat and discuss. We're here for you.
Lovely, lovely. Dear listeners, what I'll do, I'll put the links into the show notes for your easy reference. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and share this episode with someone who could benefit from learning how to make confident, science backed health choices. So, together we can all move towards living healthier and more fulfilling lives. So, until next time, stay well, stay curious, and remember that the small steps today lead to the powerful results tomorrow. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.